It's Monday, August 8th, and this is now on HNN.
Should people in Taiwan be more worried?
If you ask me, I worry.
New at noon, Taiwan's foreign minister says he's worried about a full-scale war with China. A man reportedly carrying a gun on Waikiki Beach triggers a scare that left people running in all directions.
He thought it was a shark, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was running.
Very difficult thing to go through alone.
Breaking entertainment news, actor and singer Olivia Newton-John has passed away.
These stories plus more developing news. A COVID lockdown strands tourists on what's known as China's Hawaii. That's coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching. This is Now on this Monday. We got a lot of news to get to. Well, we'll start with this. In a brand new interview, Taiwan's foreign minister says Taiwan is not scared of China's threats.
Yeah, this is even as China conducts a new round of large-scale military exercises around the island following House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit. Will Ripley has more.
As Taiwan was lighting up landmarks for U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, China was lighting up the skies and seas around the self-governing democracy, a democracy in danger of a Chinese takeover if Beijing's communist rulers get their way. Pelosi was in Taiwan less than 24 hours, leaving behind a crisis some say she helped create. Was there any concern here in Taipei about the timing of this and whether it might provoke some sort of reaction from China?
We knew that China always reacted badly whenever we have good friends coming to visit us. The Chinese government cannot dictate who can come and who cannot come. And they cannot dictate Taiwan who can be our friends or who we should make friends with.
But what if China goes further as a result of this visit or using this visit as an excuse? Do the benefits outweigh the risks for Taiwan?
One is what China is doing is unwarranted. And what it is doing is upsetting the peace and stability in the Western Pacific, and it's something that should not be welcomed by the international community.
Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu tells CNN China's war games are aimed at isolating this island. Pelosi, the most powerful politician to visit in 25 years. Is Taiwan in more danger today than it was before Nancy Pelosi's visit?
China has always been threatening Taiwan for years. And it's getting more serious in the last few years, and it's always been that way. Whether Speaker Pelosi visit Taiwan or not, the Chinese military threat against Taiwan has always been there. What do you believe China's motivation is, and do you think that their timeline has changed? China's motivation, as I said a little bit earlier, is not going to end at Taiwan. They claim East China Sea, they claim South China Sea, they work very hard to go into the Pacific. Their influence in South Asia and Africa, even in Latin America, is unprecedented these days, and therefore it has a global ambition. Ambition driven by China's most powerful leader since Mao, Xi Jinping, on track to become president for life, with a burning desire to unify with Taiwan by force if necessary. Has Taiwan's democratic system ever been in more danger than it is today? I can tell you that Taiwan is more resilient than before. Look at Taiwan these days. China is trying to impose trade sanctions against Taiwan, trying to attack Taiwan from military or non-military aspect. But the life goes on here in Taiwan. Should people in Taiwan be more worried? If you ask me, I worry a little bit. What do you worry about? I worry that China may really launch a war against Taiwan. But what it is doing right now is trying to scare us. And the best way to deal with it, to show to China that we are not scared. He calls China's military threat more serious than ever. Taiwan's warning to the world, the danger does not stop here. Will Ripley, CNN, Taipei.
Saw them all yelling and screaming and crying.
Want to now get to the very latest on that gun scare that unfolded in Waikiki yesterday. An armed man sent people running off the beach there. Our Casey Lund is standing by with the latest. Casey, what are the new details you have for us today?
Yeah, Jonathan, good afternoon. Unfortunately, don't know a whole lot about the man that police took into custody, but we do know and have confirmed with HPD he was a 27-year-old male. He was arrested for assault on a law enforcement officer as well as firearms charges. This all unfolded right here along Waikiki Beach at Lifeguard Tower 2C. We know it ended down by Kalakaua and Ohua Avenue. It was around 4:30 in the afternoon. A lot of beachgoers say that they saw that gentleman brandish a firearm, a handgun. Eventually, they alerted lifeguards. Lifeguards called police, and police, from what we hear, took care of things very quickly. As a matter of fact, we even spoke to a gentleman visiting from Arizona, Kevin Schumacher. This is what he had to say as he watched this all unfold yesterday.
What I saw yesterday was pandemonium. We didn't know what was going on. We were sitting up here in the Aston Circle Hotel on room, the fifth floor on our balcony, and we seen screaming, get back, get out of here. And all of a sudden waves of people were running. And then we see this guy come running, and it did look like he was brandishing a firearm because he had it up to his chest. He comes running across the street. Cops are chasing him, but he's in front. Goes over to the cop car, opens the cop car, and it looked like he tried to get in and steal it. They nab him, throw him back into the bushes, and that's the footage you're going to see.
Yeah, Casey, that new reaction, and I'm also seeing a lot of posts on social media about this story as well. You've been talking to local businesses out there, right?
Yeah, Jonathan, earlier this morning when we first got on scene here to follow up on this, I went to the ABC store, also the McDonald's right here along Kalakaua. I talked to one of the ladies that works there, and she said that people were running into the McDonald's trying to hide behind the counter. I mean, these people were really running for their lives. They thought there was an active shooter situation. There were a lot of people down here, surf competition actually, that was going on as well. So again, I've talked to also several people, witnesses this morning, and the people that we heard from yesterday evening who say HPD really handled this well. They responded quickly, they showed restraint, they did draw their firearms, but no shots were fired. And again, just so grateful nobody was hurt in all this.
All right, Casey Lund, thanks for keeping us updated. And we have some breaking entertainment news just into the H&N Digital Center. Here's Dylan Anchetta with more on that.
Singer and actress Olivia Newton-John has died at the age of 73. The sad news broke this morning. Her husband made the official announcement on her Facebook page. She starred in the film Grease, playing the iconic role of Sandra Dee, the good girl turned bad, in 1978. Of course, her famous one-liner, "Tell me about it, stud." But long before that role, she had already made a name for herself in the spotlight. Newton-John was born in England and moved to Australia as a kid. She was already performing on television shows and singing by her teenage years. Over the course of her career, she won Grammy Awards and sold more than 100 million albums. In 1992, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She fought it into remission, but it returned in 2013. In 2017, she was also diagnosed with spine cancer. And while we don't yet know what caused her death this morning, her family said she passed peacefully, surrounded by loved ones at her ranch in Southern California. Tributes are pouring in online as fans say she will truly be missed. And over the weekend, we also learned of another celebrity death. Actor Roger E. Mosley, best known for his role as the helicopter pilot Theodore T.C. Calvin on the 1980s hit show Magnum P.I., died yesterday. Mosley passed surrounded by family after he was injured in a car crash last week that left him paralyzed from the shoulders down and in critical condition. There are no further details about the crash, though Mosley starred in more than 150 episodes of the original Magnum P.I. alongside Tom Selleck in the crime adventure series, which aired for 8 seasons from 1980 until 1988. He was 83 years old. Of course, all this news is so sad to hear, but their legacies truly will live on. For This Is Now, I'm Dylan Anchetta.
Well, yesterday, Senate Democrats passed a historic $740 billion bill to invest in fighting climate change. For more on that, let's bring in Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent, John Decker. Now, John, along with climate change action, what else does this bill include?
Well, climate change is an important place to start. First of all, $369 billion of this legislation devoted to climate issues, including extended subsidies for electric cars and certain types of windows, wind and solar. But to the other things, certainly Medicare recipients will benefit from this. Why is that? Out-of-pocket costs for Medicare recipients capped at $2,000. That takes effect, though, in 2 years' time, so keep that in mind. In addition to that, you also have, as it relates to Medicare recipients, the ability of Medicare to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies for certain types of drugs. That will bring down costs for those Medicare recipients. And then how do you pay for all of this? You pay for it by instituting a 15% minimum corporate tax on companies with over $1 billion a year in profits. Also $300 billion set aside to reduce the deficit. But as far as the name of this bill, Ashley, it's called the Inflation Reduction Act. You and I will not notice any difference in terms of the price that we're paying for groceries or gasoline, certainly before the midterm elections. So that's a misnomer.
There were a lot of negotiations going on before to get this passed. What didn't make the cut in this bill?
Well, you remember when this bill was initially called the Build Back Better legislation. That's when this bill had a price tag of over $3 trillion. And what was included in that bill that's not in this bill? Extended subsidies for child care. Also, you remember that idea of paying for community college? That's not in the legislation either. In fact, there were dozens of proposals that were sought to be added to this legislation yesterday through amendments, and they were all defeated. So I've essentially encapsulated what's contained in this legislation. That's what Democrats, all 50 Democrats, could agree to. Of course, the tie broken by Vice President Kamala Harris. That permits the legislation to go forward now to the House, and the House Ashley will vote on this legislation on Friday of this week.
And is it expected to pass the House?
It is along party lines. So the House Speaker has expressed her support for this Senate legislation, as well as the leader for progressives, those progressives in the Democratic Party. That's an important element of the Democratic base. They too are supporting this legislation. So if it indeed passes the House, which I believe it will on Friday, it will then shortly get to President Biden's desk for his signature.
Right, and this is obviously a big win for President Biden. And you mentioned the midterm elections coming up. You know, with consumers not seeing a big difference in inflation prices, is this going to make an impact in those midterm elections for Democrats?
Well, it's a political win. Let's call it what it is. And you have to acknowledge that, even if you are a Republican. This is a political victory for the president, difficult to get with just 90 days or so before the midterm elections. This is something that Democrats can certainly run on, as well as some other legislative victories, including the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But the number one issue for most voters when they vote on Election Day, the number one issue will be the issue of inflation. And this particular issue does not really address that in the immediate nature of things. And so we'll just have to wait and see. Elections are all about, Ashley, energy. Who has the more energy? Who can get their base to the polls in larger numbers on the other side? And we'll have to see what happens in early November when the midterm elections take place.
All right, Hawaii News Now's White House correspondent John Decker. Thanks for the time, John.
Well, the countdown is on to Saturday's primary election. This morning on Sunrise, our Steve Uehara had a chat with political analyst Colin Moore about voter turnout.
We don't do well with voter turnout, Colin. We got to get more people out there to turn out. Does mail-in help at all? Are we going to see more people casting ballots?
I think we will. Well, we didn't used to do well with voter turnout, but the last primary in 2020, we did all right. 51% of registered voters turned out. Now, judging where we are, the Honolulu Elections Division tweets out where we are. It looks like we're about 20,000 votes behind where we were a week out in 2020. So that's looking pretty good. I mean, given what I've seen, I think I'm going to project about 45% of registered voters are going to turn out, which now that's lower than 2020, but it's still about 6 percentage points higher than we were in a comparable election back in 2018.
More developing news from the Asia Pacific. A COVID lockdown turns a tourist hotspot in China into a nightmare. Here's Selena Wang.
In zero COVID China, just trying to take a summer vacation can become a nightmare experience. 80,000 tourists are now trapped in a sudden lockdown in the city of Sanya. This is a popular vacation destination on China's tropical Hainan Island, often called the Hawaii of China. This outbreak is driven by the highly infectious Omicron subvariant, and it's infected more than 1,200 people in Sanya since August 1st. That counts as a major outbreak by the standards of China's zero-COVID policy, where even one or a handful of cases can send an entire community into hard lockdown. Sanya's entire city of some 1 million people went under lockdown on Saturday. Public transportation has been suspended. People can only move around for emergency services. More than 80% of the flights leaving the city were canceled, leading to complete chaos at the airport, with some videos showing crowds of people chanting that they want to go home. Now, authorities have said tourists can only leave after 7 days, but that could be extended if cases do not come down enough. The government has said that people with canceled flights can book discounted hotel rooms, but for some families, it's still not affordable. A state news website reported that a family of 13 said they'd have to pay more than $26,000 for an extra week at their hotel. Now, Sanya was supposed to be a long-awaited escape for people who were finally willing to travel during COVID. Many of the tourists stuck in Sanya are people from Shanghai who went there to rest and recharge after surviving the brutal 2-month lockdown in Shanghai earlier this year. We spoke to one tourist stuck in Sanya from Shanghai who said that it feels like Russian roulette when you travel in China. You're always taking a gamble that your destination might just get locked down. Selena Wang, CNN, Beijing.
Oh, a lot of news unfolding on this Monday already. You guys, what do you say if we take a look at our weather? Here's Guy Hoggy.
Now, there's a disturbance like we talked about that's expected to form down to the south of us. And as that disturbance passes by and gets a little bit closer, it's also going to act as a vortex and increase those winds from, say, Wednesday to Thursday. So your 7-day forecast is looking really good with the trade winds in control. So that means it's not going to be as humid as it was over the weekend. Still it's going to be warm with all the sunshine expected. Rainfall minimal. We're not going to see much rain aside from some overnight and early morning windward showers. So all the sunshine will drive temperatures into the upper 80s, overnight lows into the middle 70s. And again, those winds pick up speed tomorrow, holding firm through Friday. Slight temporary easing on Saturday.
Let's see what the internet is talking about today. And this is very interesting. You know, we broke a record here on planet Earth. Yep. The shortest day ever recorded in modern time. Yes, that's at least since the start of atomic clocks, which is like in the 1950s. So this happened on June 29th. Yes, the International Earth Rotation and Reference System Service. That's an organization that keeps track of time, simply enough. Never heard of it before today. Yes, they said on June 29th, we were 1.59 milliseconds shorter than our normal 24-hour day. So why is the Earth getting or rotating faster, or our days getting shorter? A lot of people say, I'm going to come back on camera for this, say it's because of climate change, because we have the two poles, South Pole and North Pole, and they're glaciers. They press down on the planet, so it actually makes the planet a little bit more of an oval shape. As those glaciers melt, we expand and become more of a sphere, and that is what they say makes the rotation go a little faster. A lot like an ice skater was the example we used earlier on Sunrise. They have their arms out and they spin slower. They bring their arms in a lot faster. And I would do it on my chair right now, but I'm hooked in with a wire.
And you don't have your rollerblades.
No, I could do it on rollerblades. You're right. What'd you find, Ash?
Well, today is the day to celebrate one of Hawaii's favorite comfort food snacks. That's right. Happy National Spam Musubi Day, everyone. And of course, it takes place on August 8th or 8/08. Now, a spam musubi, we know, consists of rice, nori, and of course spam. How the spam is seasoned varies. My favorite personally is soaked in shoyu, brown sugar, rice, vinegar, then fried. So the handheld treat is great any time of day, especially when you're on the go or even for potlucks. So to honor the big day, L&L is giving free spam musubis to every customer. You just got to check the L&L web, app for the free coupon to see which locations are participating.
Well, I am excited about this entertainment news because a legendary game show is coming back. We're talking about Password. Password's coming back. And with more on that, it's coming to KHNL, by the way. With more on that, Mark Barger is here with our good news now.
Roomba.
Vacuum.
Password has been Jimmy Fallon's go-to game for years. It was a daytime hit for NBC in the 70s and 80s, after starting in the 60s, where host Alan Ludden met his eventual wife, Betty White, one of Password's great players.
Pepperoni. Sausage.
It's a game that should never have gone away, I don't think, ever. And in honor of Betty White and Alan Ludden, we're bringing it back, Password.
And fresh off her starring role in Nope,
We're about to play.
Keke Palmer takes over as host.
I know all my friends are like, you hosting this show couldn't be any more perfect because I am the game night host. I love all kinds of games. You playing a passing, John?
Oh, I'll play.
He's playing.
John Hamm's among the celebrities looking for that perfect one-word clue.
Bones.
That'll get the winning one-word answer.
Ghost. That's not the password. Coming to you, Jimmy.
Halloween. Goblin. When you're playing the game, it's harder than you think. When you're at home, you're like, this is so easy. When you're playing, no.
It's always easy when you got the word.
You blank.
But when the players don't blank,
Neck.
Hickey?
Crackers.
the fun really starts.
Crackers. Then you started really getting in your bag.
Then I got it back.
He has that little clapping thing. You'll see the little clapping thing he
Yeah.
does when he knows he's right.
I mean, you play.
A little wordplay that could mean big money. Mark Barger, NBC News.
All right, in honor of that new NBC show that airs on KHNL in primetime tomorrow, we're going to play Password. So we brought in our Dylan and Chetta. You can't look that way. We have them turning against our monitor. So we're going to reveal some words to Ashley, and they're going to play the game Password. You're going to have 60 seconds once I reveal the first word, guys.
Okay.
So up first, Ashley, here's your first word.
Oh. Aloha.
Spirit.
Necklace.
Lay.
Ding, ding,
Hey,
ding, ding, ding.
there we go.
Your next word, Ashley.
Mugshot.
Picture.
Request.
Police.
Paper.
Photo. I'm terrible at this.
Keep going. You can pass.
Send.
30 seconds.
Selfie.
Pass. He's too young. He's too young.
Fax machine.
Cat.
Dog.
Poop.
Animal.
Cat.
I'm not a cat person. I don't know.
Rectangle.
Pass. I'm terrible.
Litter box. Litter box.
See, I'm not a cat person, guys.
You have 15 more seconds.
Globe.
I'm giving you a
Earth.
bonus 15.
Earth.
Got it.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, we're gonna do one more.
One more.
Oh, I want to say blonde.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh! That was incredible, guys. That was incredible. We have time to do one more. You guys ran out of time a while ago, but we can do
I wanted
one.
to say a word, but I
We
can't.
have time to do one more. This is
Wow.
Tyrannosaurus.
Rex. Dinosaur. Sorry, I changed myself.
fun. Okay, we have 30 more seconds.
Wow, okay, we're
Yeah.
getting more time here.
Because
It's like
that's how
bonus
much time we have left in the show.
October.
Halloween.
Yes.
Wow, okay, it's
I
easy
even
now.
have
I'm
one
warmed
more,
up.
guys. I have
I'm
one
warmed
more.
up.
Miami.
Dolphins.
Whoa, you guys got it down. So imagine how much
He
fun
just
that's
doesn't
going to
know
be.
what a fax machine
I'm
is. 'cause
sorry.
he's
I
a
threw that
child.
in there.
I've used one in high school, but that's
We have
it.
to fax in the
Yeah, the
mugshot
mug
request.
request.
to
I
phone.
gotcha.
Okay.
What did I win? What did I win, guys?
A seat right
sweaty.
here
Okay,
at This
great.
Is
I'll take
Now.
it.
Way to go, man. I was impressed, guys. Very, very well done. And that's going to do it for This Is Now. Don't forget, the new Password airs tomorrow night in primetime on KHNL. Speaking of KHNL, Ash is back first at 4 on the same call letters, your NBC station. Have a great one.
See ya.